we're at in Colorado. I mean, it's satellite technology. It's run off their satellites. They can focus in on one individual in one house in the middle of a city. I mean, that's how good the technology is. Well, if you've noticed over the last couple of years, all these churches and ministries, these apostolic and watchman-type ministries, people with all these prophecies, visions, and dreams, springing up all over around Colorado. And so a lot of these false prophecies and stuff you're reading about on the internet, coming from these groups and organizations based out of Colorado. And, of course, Northcom is out there, and they're the ones who run this kind of elf technology. And so now we've just kind of labeled that the Church of Northcom. A lot of these people aren't getting their prophecies and visions and dreams from the Lord. They're getting them from Northcom. And so that's why I went on the tangent last week about date setting. Because the Lord doesn't give dates. He doesn't live in linear time. He lives in eternal time. But the Church of Northcom does. They love dates. And so if you're looking at someone with specific dates, specific prophecies, probably it's a sure bet that they're not listening to the Most High. They're being deceived, and they can't tell the difference. So I wouldn't listen to anything they say. If they haven't learned how to hear the Lord's voice and they can't discern what's of Him and what isn't, why listen to them? I mean, yes, people make mistakes, but these people are consistent. I wouldn't want to be around somebody with consistent mistakes, never growing, never learning. Because we all make mistakes. It's a growing process. It's a journey. And we all make mistakes. And you learn as you go. But you know what? It's always getting better with the Lord. It's not digressing. It's not a thing where you're stagnant in errors and mistakes constantly, one after the other. And they think because they bring in their family members and their children, and that, you're just so evil because you're attacking me for saying a false prophecy. False prophecy. Sorry about that, folks. Because I brought my 4-year-old in, and now you're attacking my child. No, I'm not attacking your children. I'm attacking your stupidity for bringing in your children to confirm false prophecies. You need something of credibility, so you're the ones who bring your children into them? I mean, that's what's ludicrous. So, anyway, don't let all this stuff get to you, folks, because there's going to be a lot of people coming out with a lot of Church of Northcom advice and tips. So just seek the Lord in all things, folks. And heard from people in Houston, heard from people in Lexington. And the only thing I can tell you, folks, is to listen to your spirit, ask the Lord to guide your thoughts, so that you know if there's something you should do, if you should leave the city, if you should not go somewhere today, or He's leading you to drive down another way, take a different route somewhere. Very important now, and I've been saying this for the Lord, the people of the Lord, to start being led by their spirits, to learn how He works, that He will guide your thoughts, that He will hit your spirit with something, He'll hit your heart with something, urging you to do something, a constant nag, to where He's trying to get your attention. He'll keep bringing it over and over and over again, or it's just all of a sudden a deep, sudden urgency. Learn how He works, because His people have got to learn to be led by His Spirit, or many are going to get caught in situations that He was trying to save them out of. So learn how He works. I found it interesting the other day looking at this whole numbers facade, and how the Illuminati always works by numbers. And it's true. I mean, there's embedded codes in our news articles, and they work in various different ways to inform each other throughout the world what's actually going on. They use the media for this daily. But the number 144 significance is being led by the Spirit. And so I thought that was interesting. It makes you wonder if the number 144,000 is literal, or is it just symbolic for people who are led by the Holy Spirit? Those things that makes you go, I get a lot of questions from people about the 2 witnesses. Are they literal? Actually, most people ask me who they are. Everybody expects two literal prophets from the past, Elijah or Moses or Enoch or John, to come in the last days, because that's what the book of Revelation indicates. But I've always looked at it a separate way the last several years, to where it's rather literal or not. Are these prophets from the past actually literal? Are they going to literally return in the last days? Or is that symbolic for something else, the two witnesses being the two candlesticks, or symbolic for something else, meaning the two houses of Israel, the house of Israel, the house of Judah, or, anything else? It's just, I don't know. One thing I've always been waiting to hear directly from the Lord about, if they would be literal, because John the Baptist, people are getting tied in hog knots over this one. John the Baptist, supposedly being Elijah, returned. The Lord told them that this was the return of Eli that had been prophesied about in regards to John the Baptist. And John the Baptist certainly didn't come proclaiming he was Elijah from the past. And so that's why you'll have some of these other people popping up all over the internet. I'm Elijah. I'm Moses. Moses died. Where Elijah was lifted off the earth in a UFO, Moses died and was buried on top of the mountain by the Lord himself. So if it's going to come down to people who haven't died, as some believe, then it would have to be Elijah being one of them. Enoch, of course, having no death record, no notice of death, he was also taken by the Lord. So it would be Enoch and Elijah at that point. I know the New Jerusalem Church thinks it's John, because nobody being there to witness John die either. But it hasn't been noted that John was just taken up in the heavens either, where it has been with Enoch and Elijah. So if literal two people were going to return to earth in the last days, I would have to say, my own thoughts being, that it would be Enoch and Elijah. If it's literal, I don't know if it's literal. I hope it is. I think that would be a lot more fun to see prophets from the past, patriarchs of the Old Testament. I think that would be excellent. I think it would be awesome. But we do know, if they did show up and proclaim themselves as these prophets, that it's going to be complete hell on earth. Maybe not for us. But a lot of suffering is going to come, because these guys are going to have power to shut up the heavens and cause droughts and do all kinds of things. And so, everybody reverts back to the scriptures about how when they died at the earth, people on the earth celebrate, send each other gifts and presents, and because they're happy they're dead. But this could go for entire scenarios of not just literally two people, but an entire group of people. For instance, if all of the Christians and today those in Israel were wiped off the earth, people would probably be very glad. So I don't know whether to take that literal or not. And don't send me emails trying to straighten out my thinking, folks. I know what the arguments are. I know what the scriptures say. Just not settled on one interpretation, and something I've been looking at for 15 years. So I'll just keep trying to work that one out, see what the Lord reveals, or if one of them pops up, I guess I won't have to worry about it at all. They'll just be here. So, getting back to this, it seems to be quiet in 2006 so far. It's not always going to be that way. January has always been one of these tumultuous months that I've seen in the Bible codes, where martial law and things like